What's a city? Okay, simple question, you'd think simple answer. This is a city, so is this. That, and that. The one over there and this one over here. But what's the definition? Well, Google will tell us a large town. But what counts as large? Is there a specific population or size to become a city? Well, it depends on one thing. What country the town is in. Because what differentiates a town from a city is different depending on the country. Let's look at some examples. In Japan, to become a city, a town must have a population greater than 50,000 people, with some exceptions, giving it 814 cities. The same rule is applied in Italy, giving it 140 cities, and in Finland, but with an additional rule for population density, giving Finland 27 cities. Similarly, a city in Germany is required to have 100,000 residents, giving it 80. Australian cities only need 25,000 residents, giving it 102 cities, though about half of them are exceptions of the rule. As you can see, many countries use simple rules like a minimum population and population density. In my opinion, Germany's rule is the most reasonable, but unfortunately not all countries have so simple rules. USA's classification for a city is a legally defined government entity, which gives the USA a grand 333 cities. China has a very strange and unclear rules, but in China there are 687 cities. They are split into three categories, namely provincial level, prefectural level cities and county level cities. China likes to say that they have the largest city, claiming it's Chongqing, with 31,816 square miles, which is hard to consider a city, but technically it counts. The rules are very unclear in China. Interestingly, there are three countries that are cities. These are Singapore, Vatican City and Monaco. These three countries are entirely a city. It would only take 20 minutes to walk across the Vatican City. Vatican City is by far the world's smallest country. Vatican City is so small that it technically is smaller than a city. Rome, which the Vatican City is the centre of, is much, much larger, yet the Vatican City is still a country. But one of the strangest ways of determining a city is, of course, the United Kingdom's ways, who cannot decide what's a city and what's not. There are 76 cities in the UK, but there are no population requirements or size requirements. Take the city of Wells, for example, small city with a population of only 12,000. There are towns with a much greater population, for example, Merthyr Tydfil in Cymru. Merthyr Tydfil has a population of 44,000, yet is not a city. Many think a city needs a cathedral, but again, this is not true. There are many cities without a cathedral and many towns with a cathedral. There are many other assumptions on what the rules are, like needing a university, but none of the usual assumptions are true. The most recent towns to become cities were given city status at Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee in 2022. These 7 cities are Dunfermline in Scotland, Milton Keynes, Doncaster, Colchester and Southend-on-Sea in England, Wrexham in Cymru and Bangor in Northern Ireland, which should not be confused with Bangor in Cymru, which has already been a city since 1974. New cities are all added all the time, so why do people still think it's to do with having a cathedral? Well, a long time ago, England's population was very rural, which meant it wasn't population or size which was important, but power, which meant many of the largest cathedrals were given city status because they were powerful, meaning the then monarch would give a powerful town city status, and it's been like that since the 11th century. But nowadays, cities are given status if a town wants it. In 2000, the British government made it so towns and villages could bid for city status with the criteria
notable features,
historical features and royal features, which meant any town could become a city if the monarch liked their application. In 2000, these cities were given a status. Inverness, Brighton and Hove, Wolverhampton. Then it was made official that every Jubilee this bidding for cities would happen again. In 2002, there was Caernarfon, Newry and Preston, Stirling and Lisbon, not to be confused with Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. In 2012, there was Chelmsford, Perth and
Llanelwy.
In 2022, there were Colchester, Doncaster, Milton Keynes, Southend-on-Sea, Wrexham, Bangor and Dunfermline. But for some reason, the massive towns of Northampton and Reading still haven't been given city status. But is there any point of becoming a city? What are the benefits? Well, the only real benefits are tourism. Other than that, there aren't many benefits. And it's just for, well, their status. But enough about the UK, because cities have been around since the dawn of civilization. Well, kind of. The oldest city in the world is Jericho in Palestine, with a population of 20,000, and it's been around for 11,000 years. Which means if this is the oldest city, there was approximately 189,000 years of a Homo sapien activity without construction of a city. So, what is a city? Well, nobody can really decide. There must have been cities built before this. Well, we don't know for sure, but it is only known that humans only started to build with stone about 14,000 years ago, which makes more sense that the oldest city was made 11,000 years ago. Cities have been around for over 10,000 years, and we still can't agree on a simple definition. That is quite stupid, but it's safe to say it doesn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, being called a city and not a town is not a problem. It's just what it's called, a label, a status, and nothing more in most cases. And that's probably why nobody's made it official what the difference between a town and a city is. All you really need to know is hamlet, village, town, city. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like down below. If you enjoy my content, subscribe. See you next video. Goodbye.